Welcome everyone to Movement Yoga. My name is Mark Cormier. My wife and I do these every so often, mostly every week. And we sometimes change the time up, so Kathy has a new job. Yay! Anyway, so we'll have to figure out another time next week. But anyway, we're doing it here, right now, 8:15 a.m. on Tuesday. And are you ready, Kathy?
Ready.
All right, come on up.
Thank you. Good morning. Look at that little thing. She's gonna come join us.
All right, and
It's okay. It's all right.
we also have a friend.
Her name's Kiwi.
She's Kiwi. She may be in and out of the frame. So,
Good morning, everybody.
morning. How are you doing, Kathy?
I'm all right. I had a little trouble sleeping, but I'm happy to be here with all of you. With
All
you.
right. Excellent, excellent. Anything you want to focus on this morning?
Oh, it's all. I noticed myself like doing this again. So
All right, we'll do some cat camel. We'll work the spine a little bit.
yeah.
All right, so let's bring hands on hips. Let's march it from side to side as we start to wake up our feet. And then from a marching place, staying grounded through both feet as we rock it from side to side. And then finding your center vis-a-vis side to side. Now rocking it front to back as we lift heels, we lift toes. So we connect with our center of balance. And then staying grounded through the heels, grounded through the toes as we rock it front to back. And then finding your center. From here, either keeping your feet nice and wide for a good foundation, or challenging that foundation as you narrow your stance. And you can always change that throughout the practice. From our feet, finding our legs. From our legs, finding our spine. Relaxed shoulders, tall through the crown of the head. I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart. A light press of your thumb against your sternum as you line up each finger. Long through all sides of the neck with a soft tuck of the chin. Soft eyes, if you're comfortable with closing your eyes, closing your eyes. Otherwise, just keeping them soft. And starting our practice this morning, just watching as our breath flows in. And as our breath flows out. Arriving here on our yoga mats, ready for a morning yoga practice. From a place of just watching your breath, I'll invite you to shape your breath as you find a long, slow breath in, followed by an equally long, slow breath out. As you breathe in, I'll invite you to bring the air to the top of your chest, the base of your belly, filling up each sideways, filling up both front and back planes of your body. As you breathe out, I'll encourage you to engage your abdominals as you draw the low belly in and up, concurrently lifting the kidneys in and up, squeezing a little more air out, more importantly providing structural support with that abdominal engagement for our low back as we move through these shapes and sequences. Now finding the go-to breath of many flow practices, the Ujjayi breath, the victorious breath, slightly constricting the base of your throat, adding a slight sound and feel to your breath. And as we flow through our practice this morning, letting the sound and feel of your breath be a focus for your practice. The sound of which often compared to the sound of the ocean as the waves wash in and as the waves wash out. Now finding the tongue loop, tip of the tongue to the hard palate just behind the teeth, keeping that connection throughout the practice, keeping our jaws relaxed and connecting front and back planes of our bodies. And finally, with your lips closed, adding a slight smile to your face, a Mona Lisa smile opening up the front of your throat so your breath has lots of room to circulate, refresh, and revitalize. Keeping all this, lifting the chin, hands by your side. Keeping it simple. Inhaling arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling arms back down. 2 more times like this. Yeah, so it's just the arms. Inhaling up. Exhaling arms down. 1 more time, keeping it simple, just observing the natural rhythm of the shoulders. As the arms elevate, the shoulders elevate. As the arms descend, the shoulders descend. Half sun style, I'll ask you to go sideways, Kathy. Inhaling up. On the exhale, finding a forward fold. Take a breath to arc the back. Hands can cap the knees. Exhaling, arching the spine as we fold. Hands can catch the back of the shins. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. 2 more times like this. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, arms over. Take a breath to arc the back. And then arching the spine as you fold again. Inhaling, finding your flat back, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. One more half sunset up. Inhaling, up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to arc. On the exhale, arching as we fold again. Inhaling, finding your flat back, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. Sun salutation A. Why don't you come up a little bit forward onto your mat. You can be in front of the frame. Awesome. There you go. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, finding a forward fold. Take a breath to arc the back. And then arching the spine as you grind on down. And I will knock you vinyasa as you find your down dog. As we hold this first down dog, I'll invite you to walk the dog, bending one leg and then the other, grounding down through the opposite heel. Just stretching it out, seeing how you feel this morning, what feels tight, what feels right, what feels somewhere in between. From this place of movement, I'll invite you to move back towards stillness, long arms, long legs, long spine, deep full breath. On the tail end of a breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher, and then looking between the hands as you either step or take a jump front. Take a breath to arc the back when you arrive. Exhaling, arching the spine as you fold again. Inhaling, hinging at the hips, finding your flat back, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. Second one, much like the first, this time I'll cue vinyasa. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, finding a forward fold. Take a breath to arc the back. And then arching the spine as you grind on down, keeping the elbows soft as you cycle through Chaturanga, yoga push-up. With or without the knees, feel free. From yoga push-up, pulling back, either finding your cobra, hips stay down, or finding your up dog as you lift those hips up. And then back to your down dog. Another choice might be all fours. You might also choose a child's pose. Always finding a balance between your effort and your ease. Wherever you choose to work, breathing, watching that breath, and enjoying that reflection upon your breath. Yeah, it's either holding that down dog in stillness or adding some rock, some sway. Again, just checking it out. How do you feel? Long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher, and then looking between the hands as you either step or take a jump to the front of your mat. So you're going to come to the front of the mat now, Kathy. Awesome. Take a breath to find length when you arrive, arcing the back. Exhaling, arching the spine as you fold. Inhaling, finding your flat back, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, standing tall. We'll do one more. This one will add a moving plank. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, finding your forward fold. Inhaling, arcing the back. Exhaling, arching the spine and cycling through Chaturanga. Inhaling into up dog or cobra. And then exhaling back to your down dog. Take your time, find your flow. Feeling free to hold your down dog or choosing to add that moving plank as we inhale forward to plank pose. Exhaling, navel to spine as you lift the hips high. 2 more times. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, drawing it back. This third one will hold. Inhaling forward. Exhale and hold. Inhale and hold. Exhale and hold. One more half breath. Breath in. And then breath out. Navel to spine as you lift the hips high. And holding for another couple of breaths. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you either step or take a jump to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive. I want you to have hands cap the knees on this first one. Yeah, there you go. And you'll be able to arc. Now you catch the back of the shins as you traction yourself deeper. Inhaling, arms out to the side, finding your flat back, and then overhead. And on the exhale, hands by your side. Sun Salutation B, and again, feel free to keep the front of the frame here. Inhaling into your chair, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower, more strength in your legs. Inhaling, rising on up, a little back bend at the top. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to arc the back, hands cap the knees, yeah, really arc that spine. On the exhale, arching the spine, you can catch the back of the shins, tractioning yourself deeper. And then grounding on down and making your way back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back, yogi's choice. From down dog, flow style, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky, high on the left toes as we stretch out Achilles tendon and calf. And then looking between the hands, bringing that right foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side and then overhead. Inhaling. And then riding your exhale back to low lunge as you spin that back heel up. And from low lunge, back to down dog. As you will, either cycling through vinyasa or just stretching straight back. Yogi's choice. Take your time, find your flow, follow your breath. From down dog, second side. Big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Looking between the hands, bringing that left foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side, and then overhead, warrior one. And then riding the breath back to low lunge, and from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back, yogi's choice. And take your time, find that flow. As we hold down dog, I'll invite you to bring your attention to the base of your throat. From that place, listening and feeling as your Ujjayi breath flows in. And as your Ujjayi breath flows out. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you either step or take that jump front. Yeah, again, use the knees, yeah, please. Yeah, inhaling, exhaling, now finding the back of your legs. On the inhale, coming back to your chair, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up, a little back bend at the top. On the exhale, neutral spine, hands by your side. Adding a hip opener, one more Sun Sal B. Inhaling into your chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to arc the back. Hands can cap the knees. There you go. On the exhale, catching the back of the shins as you go deeper. And then grounding on down and making your way back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. Yogi's choice. From down dog, flow style, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky for the three-legged dog. Keeping that right shoulder anchored, lifted leg straight as you twist from the ribs. Yeah, try to keep that shoulder just as it is. You want to feel the twist right here. Now bending that top leg, opening up that hip, hanging them out, keeping the shoulder anchored. And then pitching that knee even higher. And then sweeping that right foot through, spinning the back heel down. Arms out to the side and then overhead, warrior one. And then riding your exhale back to low lunge as you spin that back heel up. And then back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back, yogi's choice. Second side, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky. High on the right toes. It's not going to be a big movement here. The shoulder's going to stay just as it is. You want to stack the hips as you twist from the ribs. Now bending that leg, opening up that hip. Now pitching that knee even higher. And then sweeping that left foot through, spinning the back heel down. Finding your warrior one, arms out to the side and then overhead. And then riding your exhale back to low lunge as you spin that back heel up. And then back to down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back, yogi's choice. And as we hold down dog, working with your Ujjayi breath, but finding Samarvriti, same breath, so long, smooth breaths in, and equally long, smooth breaths out. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher, and then looking between the hands as you either step or take that jump up. Nice jump. Take a breath to find length. Hands can cap the knees. Exhaling, traction yourself deeper as hands catch the back of the shins. On the inhale, stay low, knees over toes, finding your flat back in chair pose. Exhaling, taking it lower, much lower. On the inhale, rising on up. On the exhale, standing tall. I'll invite you to face camera as you bring hands to heart. Coming back to that light press of your thumb against your sternum as you line up each finger. Relax shoulders, a soft tuck of the chin. Watching as our breath flows in. And watching as our breath flows out. Lifting the chin tall through the crown, hands by your side. If they aren't already there, stepping or jumping your feet hip width apart. Working with our fire breath, short, sharp exhalations out through the nose as we inhale, arms up in front. On the exhale, casting the hands back. We'll do 6. A couple more. The last one. And then back up, and either keeping your feet just as they are, or stepping or maybe jumping them in. I'll ask you to go sideways. Sun Sal Si, again, find the front of the frame. Inhaling into your chair. Knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it deeper. There it is. Inhaling, rising on up. A little back bend at the top. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to arc the back. Hands cap the knees. Exhaling, catching the back of the shins as you traction yourself deeper. And then grounding on down, making your way back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back, yogi's choice. From down dog, flow style, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky, high on the left toes. Keeping that right shoulder just as it is, twisting from the ribs as we stack the hips. Might not be a big movement. Now bending that leg, opening up that hip. Now pitching that knee even higher, and then sweeping that right foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side. And then overhead, Warrior One. In Warrior One, I'll invite you to bring hands back to your hips. If you're as long as you're going to get, stay right there. Otherwise, shifting weight onto the front foot as you scoot the back foot back for more length in your stance. With our hands on our hips, we can steer our hips front. Hands find the shoulders as we steer our heart front. Now finding a clasp of the fingers behind the head, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat, elbows wide to the side. And then keeping that sense of space across heart and throat chakras, we can stretch those hands high. From here with the breath, breathing in as we gather up the energy. Exhaling, offering it out. Cactus arms 6 times. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. We're halfway done. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 2. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 1. Breathing in. Breathing out and holding cactus arms. The elbows move back, the hands come with. That's right, rippling those fingers, enjoying the stretch, keeping our hands supple. From here, moving towards the Warrior 3 balance challenge. Hands find the hips. We can spin the back heel up, taking either a couple of steps or a big step in. Starting to pour weight into that right leg as if you're pouring water into a bucket. Left foot gets light. Keeping the knee of the right leg soft as we let those arms dangle. Keeping the knees soft as we find our dynamic balance, rocking those hands forward to back, back to front. Yeah, really bend that knee if you can. Yeah, it's like a spring in a car that keeps the car ride smooth. Yeah. And then eventually you're going to sweep those hands in front. Doesn't matter too much. Yeah, if you rock it, that's your dynamic balance. Maybe lifting the face to look through those hands, keeping the arms nice and wide to keep those shoulders relaxed. Nice, beautiful. And then hands find the hips as you take a big step back or a small step, and then finding your ordinary length in your warrior one. With your hands on your hips, we'll keep the hands on the hips. We're going to steer the hips sideways, finding warrior two hips. And you'll kick the back foot in a little bit for a narrower stance. And then finding one long arm, looking out over those front fingers with a mixture of effort and ease. From here, painting rainbows, straightening the front leg without locking the knee, inhaling. Exhaling warrior two. We'll do 6 of these, breathing in and breathing out. Inhale. Exhale, we're halfway done, breathing in, breathing out, last 2, breathing in, breathing out, last 1, holding that reverse warrior as we hold the shape with every breath, finding more space between each rib. And then I'll invite you to spread your fingers wide, mimicking those ribs as we find more space in our hands. And breathing into all that space. From the reverse warrior, turning it back into warrior two, one long arm. Now finding a clasp of the fingers behind the back, shoulder blades back and down initially onto your ribs, and then leading with the heart as you take a deep forward fold inside the front leg. Letting those hands lift up off the back, and then relax neck, heavy head, letting those shoulders slide off the ribs and down towards the floor. As we hold the rainbow warrior, adding a little swing, a little sway, inviting any tension in your neck and shoulders to drain down through the crown of the head into the earth. Now in our rainbow warrior, I'll suggest a strong tuck of the chin as you bring it on up. Coming back to your warrior two. From warrior two, we'll take it to triangle. Thumb and forefinger finds crease of hip and base of rib. Deepening that crease, lengthening those ribs. Either grounding bottom hand down on shin, thumb in line with the shin bone as you wrap the calf. Some may go lower. Others of us may grab some bricks and bring them outside the calf. If you do use the bricks, feeling that physical connection between the calf and the brick. We can use this top hand to good effect as we rotate our ribs, opening up shoulder, and then stretching hand high, choosing either to look down, off to the side, or up to the sky for your triangle pose. Great, great shape. As we hold the triangle with every breath in, gathering energy in the center of yourself, a big ball of energy. And then from that big ball of energy with every exhalation, finding more length through both arms, both legs, both ends of the spine, connecting with the pulsation of the breath. From here, moving towards another balance challenge, the half moon, top hand finds the hip, as we either take one big step or a couple of steps in. Setting our base, right hand off to the right with or without a brick. And then pouring weight into that standing leg as if you're pouring water into a bucket. We can use that top hand to good effect as we rotate our ribs. Opening up shoulders, stretching hand high. You up for grabbing the foot this morning?
Sure.
All right, we'll do it the easy way. So get yourself a little bit small, so really bending that leg, get yourself way down. Now reaching back to catch the foot. Once we have the foot, straighten the leg without locking the knee. You should get yourself big again. Kicking the foot into the hand to deepen back hard. Nice. From a bound back leg, we'll find a long back leg. Hand finds the hip. And then softening that front knee for a big or small step back. We're coming back to our warrior two. You can always adjust your feet. And from warrior two, I'll suggest a big windmill of the arms, lots of ways to windmill, as we find our low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will, either cycling through vinyasa, stretching straight back, or maybe you make another choice instead. You can always sneak in that child's pose, maybe finding on all fours, making it your flow, making it your practice. Second side, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Keeping that left shoulder just as it is, twisting from the ribs, lifted leg straight, nice. Now bending the leg, opening up that hip. Now pitching that knee even higher, so stretching your glutes. And then looking between the hands as we bring that left foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side. And then overhead for your warrior one. In warrior one, I'll invite you to bring hands back to the hips. If you're as long as you're going to get, stay right there. Otherwise, lengthening your stance as you shift weight onto the front foot to scoot that back foot back. With our hands on our hips, we can steer our hips front. Now hands find the shoulders, steering heart front. Now walking the fingers one over as we clasp the fingers behind the back of the head, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat, elbows wide to the side. And then keeping that width across heart and throat chakra as we stretch those hands high. From here, pulling silk threads. We don't want to break the threads. Breathing in. Breathing out, cactus arms. 6 times. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. We're halfway done. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 2. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 1. Breathing in. Breathing out and holding cactus arms. As the elbows move back, the hands come with, rippling those fingers as we keep our hands up. Moving towards our Warrior 3 balance challenge. Hands find the hips as we spin the back heel up. Either one big step or a couple of steps in. Starting to pour weight into that left leg as if you're pouring water into a bucket. Keeping the knees soft as we find our dynamic balance. Letting those arms hang. And then starting to rock those arms forward to back. You might even go sideways. You might cross them. And then eventually, very naturally, very organically, sweeping those hands front, nice and wide with the arms to keep those shoulders relaxed. And maybe lifting the face to look through the hands. Hands in front, come back to the hips as we soften the front knee for either one big step or a couple of steps back. Keeping our hands on our hips, we're going to turn Warrior 1 hips into Warrior 2 hips as we steer the hips sideways. Kicking the back foot in for a little bit of a narrower stance. And then finding one long arm, looking out over those front fingers with a mixture of effort and ease. Yeah, really find your drishti and look over those front fingers. There you go. From here, painting rainbows. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale, we're halfway done. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 2 here. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 1. Finding that reverse warrior and holding. Reaching up higher. Reaching down further. Finding more space between each rib with every breath. Breathing into that space. And mimicking your ribs with your fingers as you spread those fingers wide. Finding more space in your hands. And breathing into that space. Turning the reverse warrior back into Warrior 2. From here, finding your rainbow warrior. Switching the clasp of the fingers behind the back. Shoulder blades back and down initially. And then open heart, open throat. Taking that deep forward fold inside the front leg. As we hold this forward fold, letting the neck relax, letting the head be heavy. And then letting those shoulders slide off the ribs and down towards the floor. As we hold the shape, I'll invite you to add a little swing, a little sway, inviting any tension in your neck and shoulders to drain down through the crown of the head into the earth. Now in our rainbow warrior and in our forward fold, strong tuck of the chin as you bring it on up. Lifting the chin tall through the crown, back to Warrior 2. Transitioning to Trikonasana, the triangle, thumb and forefinger finds crease of hip and base of rib. Deepening that crease, lengthening those ribs, straightening that front leg without locking the knee. Either bringing thumb in line with the shin bone as you wrap the calf to open up that bottom shoulder, or you could bring a brick or 2 outside the calf. And again, if you choose to use the bricks, feeling that physical connection between the brick and the calf. We can use that top hand to rotate our ribs. So you'll use it to rotate the ribs first. Yeah, there you go. Now you find the shoulder, and then stretch that hand high to the sky. As we hold the shape, with every in-breath, our diaphragm stretches down towards our navel, gathering energy in our navel center. With every out-breath, the diaphragm relaxes and domes up to the heart on that impetus, finding more length through both arms, both legs, both ends of the spine. And finding a drishti or eye focus, down to the ground, very grounding. Off to the side, a little less so. Up to the sky, the least grounding, but perhaps the most liberating and the most challenging. From here, moving towards our triangle on one foot, the half moon. Top hand finds the hip. As we soften the front knee for a big step or a couple of steps. Take your time, set your base, there's no rush. Once you have your base, pouring weight into the standing leg. And make sure you feel safe as that back foot gets light. Again, we can use that top hand to good effect, rotating the ribs, that's it. Now the shoulder. Now stretching hand high, choosing either to look down, off to the side, or up to the sky. So the easy way to bind the foot is to get yourself really, really small. Once you have the foot, you can make yourself tall. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, open shoulder. And then kicking the foot into the hand as you deepen back hard and breathing into back hard any amount. And also you can look down, off to the side, or up to the sky, depending on how your balance feels. From that bound back foot, finding a long back leg. Hand finds the hip as we take either one big step or a couple of steps in. Finding your warrior two, one long arm, looking out over those front fingers with that mixture of effort and ease. And then a big windmill of the arms. And again, there's lots of ways to windmill. As you stretch out your shoulders, finding low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog. As you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back, yogi's choice. And as we hold this down dog, coming back to Samarvriti, long smooth breaths in. Equally long smooth breaths out. Sama means same, pretty similar word. Vritti can mean breath, it also means wave. So the breath is a wave. Let's generate a little more heat. You up for that moving plank again?
Sure.
Inhaling forward to plank pose. Exhaling navel to spine as you lift the hips high. Take your time. Inhaling forward, finding your plank, holding a little half breath here. And then on your next exhale, navel to spine as you lift the hips high. This third one will hold. Inhaling forward. Exhale and hold. Inhale and hold. Exhale and hold. One more half breath. Breath in. And then breath out. Navel to spine as you lift the hips high. And holding for another couple of breaths. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Equally long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you either step or take that jump to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length in your right. Hands can cap the knees, that's it, yeah. Now catching the back of the shins as you traction yourself deeper. On the inhale, knees over toes, finding your flat back, finding chair pose. Exhaling, taking it even lower. Inhaling, rising on up, a little back bend at the top. On the exhale, finding your flat back, hands by your side. I'll ask you to face the camera, Kathy, as you bring hands to the heart. This time adding an isometric engagement. You press the palms together, elbows wide, shoulders engaged, a tuck of the tail, a tuck of the chin, connecting with the strength of your center. And then lifting the chin tall through the crown, hands by your side. If the feet aren't hip width apart, we'll get them there, either with a step or a jump. Working with that fire breath again. Short, sharp exhalations out through the nose as we inhale, arms up to one side. We'll do 6. Exhaling, passing the hands through center, giving those wrists a little flick. And other side. One more each way. And then back to center, and either stepping or maybe jumping those feet on it. I'll ask you to go sideways. We'll do another standing set here. Inhaling into your chair pose, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. On the inhale, finding an arc to the back. On the exhale, finding your arch. Welcome, Peter. And then grounding on down and making your way back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back, yogi's choice. Find your flow. Flow style, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky, high on the left toes. Keeping that right shoulder just as it is, lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. Now bending that lifted leg, opening up that hip. and then pitching that knee even higher, and then sweeping that right foot through, spinning the back heel down. Arms out to the side, and then overhead for warrior one. From here, I'll invite you to bring hands back to the hips. If appropriate, lengthening your stance. Keeping right hand on right hip, finding length on the left side, reaching up, and then reaching out 6 times. Breathing in, reaching up, and then reaching out. Inhaling up, exhaling out. We're halfway done. Breathing in, and breathing out. Last 2, breathing in, breathing out. Last 1, breathing in, breathing out. Now finding your twist, we can start with the wrist, sliding to the elbow, finding your prayer hands. Yeah, if you can keep that back heel down, that'd be this shape here. Yeah, a little more stable, a little less twist. As you press the palms together, feeling very open across heart chakra. And then I'll let you lift the chin ever so slightly as we open up throat chakra. And breathing into that space. From here, I'll invite you to move towards a revolved half moon. So, top hand's going to find the hip. Left hand's in line with left shoulder. Feel free to grab the brick. It's right there. Spinning the back heel up. You want to be a little bit more forward with the brick than that. Yeah. So, yeah, there you go. And then you're going to lift that back leg as we float the shape. We can use our hands to rotate our ribs. You can rotate those ribs, yeah, towards the standing leg. Use that top hand. First the ribs and then the shoulder. Yeah, now the shoulder. Now stretching hand high as we find our revolved half moon. And this is a great, great half moon. Not an easy shape by any means. Keeping that easeful quality to the breath. Long, smooth breaths in. Equally long, smooth breaths out. Coming down easily as we find our low lunge. Hands can frame that front foot. And from our low lunge, back to down dog as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back, yogi's choice. Again, find your flow, follow your breath, take your time. Second side, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Keeping that left shoulder just as it is, twisting from the ribs as we stack the hips. Now bending that lifted leg, opening up that hip. And then pitching that knee even higher. And then sweeping that left foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side. And then overhead for our warrior one. From here, bringing hands back to the hips, lengthening the stance if appropriate. And now left hand grounds left hip as we find length on the right side, reaching up, yeah, that's right, it is. Let me think, left, yeah, and reach, and up, and reach, and up, and reach. We're halfway done, up, and reach, last 2, up, and reach. Take your time, a little slower, up, and now reach, reach, reach. We can start the twist with the wrist, sliding to the elbow, finding your prayer hands, either looking down off to the side or up to the sky. And again, as you press those palms together, feeling very open in heart chakra, we have back heart. And then lifting the chin as we open up throat chakra. Yeah, there it is. And breathing into that space. From here, I'll invite you to move towards the revolved half moon. Top hand finds the hip, this time right hand off to the right. Setting your base, and I'll suggest a bigger base is going to be more solid. And then pouring weight into that front leg as the back foot gets light. We can use that top hand to rotate our ribs. Opening up shoulders, stretching hand high for the half moon. And again, I'll say as much shoulder as arm. Yeah, you want to feel that shoulder open up without losing your balance, of course. You might even put the grip right here. Maybe, sorry. Just there, yeah. One long arm here. There it is. There it is. Nice. From here, we'll come down easily as we frame front foot with both hands, finding our low lunge. From low lunge, back to down dog, as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. Deep, full breaths. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you either step or take a jump. Take a breath to find length. Hands can cap the knees. There it is. Exhaling, catching the back of the shins as you traction yourself deeper. On the inhale, finding your chair pose, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it deeper. On the inhale, rising on up, a little back bend at the top. On the exhale, finding your neutral spine. And again, yeah, perfect. Facing camera, I might bring hands to heart. This time, intertwining the fingers, keeping the heels of the hands together. Isometric engagement as we try to pull those fingers apart. Shoulders engaged, a tuck of the tail, a tuck of the chin, connecting with the strength of our center. And then lifting the chin tall through the crown. One more time with our fire breath. If the feet aren't already hip width apart, getting them there. So this time we'll inhale arms out to each side. On the exhale, passing the hands through center, giving those wrists a little flick as we find a cross. And switching across. Yeah, it's more to keep the back straight. A couple more each way. One more. Each side. And then back up. And either stepping or maybe jumping your feet on in. From here, finding a flamingo. So we're going to shift weight to the right. We're going to float that left foot with a soft point to the toe. So we're balancing on one foot. You can go sideways or straight, however you choose. Now leaning a little bit forward, keeping the hands on your hips without dropping the thigh. Yeah, we're moving towards a front. The leg's going to go in front.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. You want to keep the spine nice and straight. You don't want to lean back. You want to lean forward as you draw energy into your energy center. Either keeping hands on hips or just letting those arms hang. Maybe finding your dynamic balance as you start to rock those arms forward to back, back to front. And then maybe sweeping those hands out to the side and then high to the sky. Lifting that leg a little higher. Now bringing hands back to the hips as you land a cross step. Feel free to grab a brick or two. Big breath in, arms out to the side. And then exhaling, finding your forward fold. Exhaling as we find a forward fold with a cross step. As we hold this shape, letting the neck relax, letting the head be heavy. And then any amount, circling those hips as we invite more prana, more life force into our hips. Now feel free to find a good height for you. Could be a big circle, could be a small circle. Let it be your circle. And then taking those circles the other way. Now from here, carefully unwinding the legs as you find your low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog. As you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back, yogi's choice. From down dog, when you're ready. Long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending your knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you either step or take a jump to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length when you arrive, finding that arc to the spine. On the exhale, arching the spine. On the inhale, knees over toes, finding your flat back, your chair pose, your Utkatasana. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, standing tall. I'll ask you to face camera as we find a lotus flower at the heart. Little fingers and thumbs connect. The fingers face up. And then a soft tuck of the chin as you admire the beauty of the lotus. Lifting the chin tall through the crown. So you want to find your lotus. Hold that lotus so it looks like, yeah, so the thumbs connect. You see it? It's like a little flower.
Okay.
Yeah. I was so engrossed in my own lotus, and keep thinking, you want a little. Your
I was
fingers
making I was making like a little spider lotus.
Spider. So this is the lotus, and then hands by your side. Awesome. From here, let's step the feet wide. From the lotus, let's go punching out with angry eyes. as we make two fists with the hands. Turning at the waist as we punch out with the left and squeeze. Turning at the waist, punching out with the right and squeezing. We can combine that with the breath, exhaling. With our fire breath. A couple more times each way. And this last one, let's hold as we squeeze, 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 squeeze. Punching out and holding as we squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then back to center, hands by our side. From here, stepping or jumping our feet in. We're going to shift weight to the left as we find our flamingo. Hands find the hips as we let that right foot lift up with a soft point to the toe. Practicing balancing on one foot. Strengthening our ankles, connecting with our center. And then from here, we want to lean a little bit forward as we draw energy into center, going long through that leg, keeping that soft point to the toe so you don't want to drop the thigh at all. Awesome. From here, just letting the arms hang and then keeping the knee of the standing leg soft as we find our dynamic balance. We do a little craziness with the arms, whatever. And then sweeping those hands out to the side and then high to the sky. Maybe thinking about looking up between those hands. High hands come back to the hips as we land a cross step. Feel free to use bricks to raise the floor. A big breath, arms out to the side, inhaling. On the exhale, finding your forward fold. From the forward fold, finding length as you look up, arcing the back. Exhaling, arching the spine as we hold the forward fold. Relax neck, heavy head, letting those shoulders slide off the ribs and down towards the floor. And then as we hold the shape, I'll invite you to circle your hips any amount. Inviting more prana, more life force into those hips. Could be a big circle, could be a small circle, let it be your circle. And then taking those circles the other way. One of my favorite hip stretches, one of my favorite low back stretches, one of my favorite hamstring stretches is this cross-legged circling in the forward fold. Now coming back center, carefully unwinding the legs as we find our low lunge, left foot front, right foot back. And from low lunge, one last time this morning, back to down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa, stretching straight back, or making another choice instead, yogi's choice. From down dog, we'll invite you to land the knees lightly as you find a child's pose with the arms in extension, so long arms in front. Keeping the elbows lifted as you heavy the forehead through, and then letting those elbows relax as you settle into the shape. As we hold this child's pose, I'll invite you to gently rock it from side to side, getting into those hips, and finding your belly breath. Dropping the breath down, letting your belly massage your thighs as you breathe in, even if it's just energetically. Letting your thighs massage your belly as you breathe out. From here, finding a side bend. Keeping hips and heels just as they are as you walk your hands to one side. Stretching far hip to far heel. And then walking your hands to center and finding that second side. Stretching other hip to other heel. Now walking back, hands back center. Walking the hands in, bringing your feet off to one side, and coming down onto your back as we find our Shavasana. Doing whatever else feels right and good for you. You do a nice slow roll down. When you get down, full body stretch if you have the room. I think you do. And then finding your Shavasana. Hands by your side, the low back finds its own space. Maybe scooting the head back as you flatten your shoulders. Tip of the tongue now neutral in your mouth. A slight part to your lips, but still breathing in and out through your nose. And we won't be here too long. I'm going to grab the bells, Kiwi. So I'm going to ring these yoga bells 3 times. Here we go. invite you to move your mind before you move your body. Bring your attention back to your breath, watching as it flows in and out. Like watching a river, as that river flows by. From a place of just watching your breath, I'll invite you to shape your breath, varying the ratio between the inhale and the exhale as you find a long, smooth breath in, followed by an even longer, slower breath out. Keeping these longer, slower exhalations, inviting more prana, more life force into your body, I'll invite you to gently ripple your fingers and toes. Inviting that life force in towards center as we gently circle our wrists and our ankles. I'll invite you to add a little shimmy of the shoulders, a little shake of the hips, connecting with your own innate sense of well-being. Now pressing your back into the mat to support the action of the legs as we draw one knee into the heart, the other knee follows. Hands cap the knees, using your thighs to gently massage your low belly as you lift and lower the hips, front to back, side to side, little circles, whatever feels right and good for you. Now keeping the neck relaxed, reaching back with a hand to lift and tuck the chin. Chin stays tucked, the hand comes back to the knee or shin. So both hands on both knees or shins. And then you're going to start to rock yourself forward to back, back to front, massaging your spine. You might grab the back of the thighs if you need a little more oomph. And then popping on up, finding your cross-legged sit. I'll ask you to face the camera. As you sit, or as we sit, grounded down through both sits bones, I'll invite you to bring your hands onto your knees, pulling back with your hands to settle the shoulders. Long through all sides of the neck with a soft tuck of the chin. I'll invite you to bring one hand onto the heart, so flat palm on heart, other hand on top. Ending our practice as we started, listening and feeling as our breath flows in and out. From this place of breath awareness, I invite you to bow as you thank yourselves for practicing yoga and as we offer our practice out to each other and to the world. The light within us honors and respects the light within you. And in this light, we are one. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, Kathy, for practicing with us.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Kiwi, for
Thank
being
you,
such a
Kiwi,
patient
for
girl.
being very patient. And
She's
thank you at
15
home for
years old.
practicing with. Yeah, we have the old dog this week, and she's a sweetie, but she's old and needs to get out. So we're going to do that. And everybody, as always, namaste. Have a nice day.
Have a
We'll
nice
see you real
day.
soon.
Namaste.